everybody, and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. And this is the Player in Focus programme. We did the player ratings. We compared my ratings to the ratings in the Evening Standard yesterday, and I did a poll on Twitter. But the poll hasn't actually finished yet. This is a pre-recording, but Anthony Marshall's leading. I gave Anthony Marshall 8 out of 10 compared to the Evening Standard gave him 4 out of 10. And I don't know if that's one of the main reasons, but Anthony Marshall's leading by some way. There's over 5,500 votes on Twitter as I speak, and Anthony Marshall's got 38% of the vote. So I'm recording this in advance of it finishing, but I'm pretty confident it's going to be Anthony Marshall. It's not for everybody, this programme. It's an in-depth look. I'm going to do the first half. This is only because it's going to take a while to do the first half. I'm going to speak about every involvement that Anthony Marshall had in the game, in the first half of the game. Like I say, it's not for everybody. If you're already a big Anthony Marshall fan, you might enjoy it. You might enjoy listening to it. I'm going to put a couple of clips on Twitter. You'll be able to see. I'm not going to put lots up. There's too many things to put everything up. But I'll use a couple of good things, a couple of bad things. There's not that many bad things, to be honest, to choose from. But if you're already a fan of Anthony Marshall, I think you might quite enjoy listening to what I've got to say. If you're not a fan of Anthony Marshall, or you think he's overrated, or if you just think he had a bad game the other day, if you're prepared, you'd probably need, you would really need to have the game recorded to be able to watch it again. I do think they show the games again on Sky and also on MUTV. You might be able to watch it again. But if you're prepared to listen to what I've got to say and you want to watch the game again, looking at the 5 or 6 clips that I put up won't necessarily help. But if you want to watch it again and take on board what I've actually pointed out in the game, watch it with an open mind, and I think you might decide that Anthony Marshall played better than you thought he did, and had much more input into the game. Because I'm speaking about virtually every input that he has in the game, it's not going to be really easy for me. I'm going to have to confer with me notes quite a bit. I've made quite a few notes. Don't forget, this is the Football Philosophy channel. It's called the Football Philosophy channel because it's about my football philosophy. And one of the most important things in football for me is that a player makes good decisions. It's the most important thing. If you've got a good first touch and you make good decisions, when to pass the ball, whether to hold it, when to release it, when to dribble it, when to take a chance, it's all about decision making. If you've got a great first touch, and you make good decisions, you've got a chance in the game. If you've got strength and skill and speed to go along with that all those are absolute bonuses. But a great first touch and good decision making is paramount. These particular shows that I'm doing, they'd be pretty good to do as a watch along. But obviously I can't do them live as a watch along. I need to watch the game again. I need to make the decisions on what I think about what our player played. But they do show the games, as I say, they show them as live. So in the future, I will consider, if there's enough people, fancy joining in on that, I am considering doing one as a watch along, maybe the day after the game when it's shown as live on MUTV. I'll get cracking any set. Just checking I've not missed anything out. I don't think I have there. So as I say, I'm only going to do the first half. I'm just doing the first half because it's just too long. I could do the second half again. If enough people sort of ask me to do the second half, I'll do the second half as well. But there'll be a few clips on Twitter, as I say. I'll tell you the bits that I speak about. There's all my notes. The bits that I speak about, some of them will have a clip on Twitter, not all of them, and I'll tell you what the clip will be, whether it's clip A, clip B, and so on and so forth. So here we go. This is just doing the first half because there's just too much to talk about if we do the full game. If you want me to do the second half, enough people ask me to, I will. So, first of all, here we go. No apology for this. This is 5 seconds into the game. United start by playing a long ball up the long flank, up the left flank. Rashford makes a challenge for the ball in the air. Marshall gets near him as he knows he's got to do, and the ball just drops. Rashford competes probably with Coleman, or it might be one of the centre-backs, I'm not sure, but the ball just drops loose. Anthony Marshall gets his body around the ball without touching the ball, and he lays a simple, sharp pass off back to Rashford, and Rashford puts Luke Shaw in. Some people might even remember it, and then Luke Shaw gets a crossover, and it's a low cross, and it just evades Bruno. Bruno's running into the box. You might not think a lot of it, but it's these simple, smart decisions that I love. This is my football philosophy. And what Anthony Marshall does there, a lot of people might think it's nothing. To me, it's everything. He gets around the ball. He waits for the right moment. The ball's bouncing, but then he just fires the shots, the pass straight into Rashford's feet, and Rashford puts Luke Shaw in behind it. It almost develops into a chance. This applies. Next bit. This is only after 31 seconds. I'm going to mention a few different things that I'm not going to mention again. This is one of the ones that I'm not going to mention again. Centre backs and centre forwards can't win every header. You cannot win every header. Centre backs are often, people say to you often hear commentators say about centre backs, you can't win that ball, so don't plough into him. Do not plough into him. Don't give a foul away. If sometimes you just can't win the ball. Well, the same thing applies for strikers. And what a striker does is if he can't win a ball, he makes it as difficult as he can for the defender to get a clear header on it. So this happens 2 or 3 times in a game. I spotted this because obviously he's just played one good pass. This is only 31 seconds in, so it's only 20 seconds later or something. There's a ball played up to him. He backs into Keane, challenges Keane. He knows he can't win it. If you're a critic of Anthony Marshall, you might say, oh, he's got to do better. But if you're fair and you watch that, Anthony Marshall knows he can't win the ball. Just like a defender, when he doesn't know, when he thinks he can't win the ball, he's not supposed to foul somebody. In this instance, Marshall knows he can't win it, and all he does is back into him, make it difficult for him so that he can't get a clean header. And that's a centre forward's job. So he doesn't do anything wrong there. So one of the things I was going to say before I started, by the way, is when you're marking somebody out of 10, it's a difficult thing to if you start watching from the very beginning and then you start saying, well, he's done okay there, he's done okay there, he's done really well there. At what point is he worth 10 out of 10 before the ball's kicked? And if so, at what point is he worth less than 10 out of 10? You can only get involved in the game, as you'll see as I talk through this, in some situations of the game, especially if you're playing up front and they've got you under pressure, you can only drop back into your team shape. You can't really do anything. So, it's interesting. People that have down-marked him, and like I say, the Evening Standard gave him 4 out of 10. I'd like to know where they got that from. But at the minute, all right, I'm only a minute into the game here, but he's made a really good pass and he's done what he can to stop somebody heading the ball. At the minute, if you were starting from a fresh at the beginning of the game and somebody's worth 10 out of 10 before the ball's kicked, Anthony Marshall would still be 10 out of 10 for me. If you see where I'm coming from, I'd like to see where the negative things are that get you downgraded. 50 seconds in, I've only mentioned this because of work rate. This is another one. The same thing as regards the heading. He makes some challenges where it's just for the sake of making the challenge. Sometimes you can't win it. People also talk about work rate with him. So again, if you're watching or if you're going to watch this back on screen, 50 seconds in, it's a thankless task for a striker, but he chases one ball to one centre back. Tries to cut him out so the centre-back can't play it to the other centre-back. Positional sense, using his brain. He can't cut everything out. This applies to all strikers. He can't stop every angle. So one centre-back goes to the keeper passes to the other centre-back, and Marshall runs towards the keeper, and as he passes it, he then runs towards the other centre-back. He works just as hard as any striker does, and I've really studied this first half, and he does lots of that. closing down angles, closing down passing lanes, trying to make it so that the defender has to go back to his keeper and not forward. His work rate was perfectly fine. That's only 50 seconds in, so I've pointed out one good pass, a challenge for a header, and also decent work rate. 1 minute 41 seconds. Luke Shaw overhits a ball through the inside left channel. He still chases it. The defender's always favourite. He trips over the defender's trailing leg and collapses in a heap on the floor. 1 minute 41. Don't forget, I'm looking for things here where you can downgrade him. He's not done anything wrong there, and it was, you know, it was a slightly overhit ball by Shaw, not ridiculously overhit, and was worth chasing. But he trips over the defender's leg. He couldn't do anything about it. 2 minutes 30 seconds. Bruno is on the D and he tries a 5-yard pass to Marshall into the box. It's a 5-yard forward pass into the box. And it's just a tiny little bit behind Anthony Marshall. It's sort of behind him, but just under his feet. As Marshall's running forward into the box, he's hoping for Bruno to turn it right into his stride. It needs, when it's so tight, especially with lots of defenders around in the penalty area, and also especially when it's such a short pass, because it happens instantaneously, you need that ball to be right in front of you. There's no criticism of Bruno. You know, he tries to get it into the right spot. He doesn't miss it by much, but it's just a tad under Marshall's feet, a little bit behind him. Tries to drag it forward with his left foot, but it doesn't. Don't quite get there. And again, it's not his fault. There's nothing he can do about it. If you're a critic of him, you might say, "Oh, he should have done better." Not the case. You're just being critical for the sake of being critical. But I'm only up to 2 minutes 33. That's all I'm up to. So you can see it might be quite long, this. But there is another reason behind this. I'm being so meticulous on this one so that in the future, this will be on YouTube. And once it's on YouTube. People will be able to see how meticulous I am. When I'm talking about something like this in the future with somebody, and I say, look, I've studied that first half, you know, you might say he had a bad game, or you might say somebody had a good game, and I'll be able to say to you, look, if you want me to do this again, I'll show you, but I study it, and I study it meticulously. This will be there, and you'll be able to look back at this and say, you know, that's how meticulous he does look at the game. And you know, when I say in future, maybe I won't have to go through all this, and it won't have to be quite so long. I'll maybe just mention 3 or 4 bad things and 3 or 4 good things. In this instance, I'm probably mentioning 20 different things that Anthony Marshall does in the first half. It's too many, but it's only one show, and it's only the first half of the game. So, 2 minutes 33, you'll see Marshall in the box. The ball's just been in the box, and the Everton players are cleared in the box. A centre forward, the ball's been cleared in the air. A centre forward is hoping for that ball to come back into the box, and he wants to keep himself onside. But to have any chance of scoring whatsoever, he wants to keep himself only just onside. He doesn't want to be 5 yards onside. If he's 5 yards onside, obviously the defenders are going to have much more chance of reaching the ball than he's got to reach in the ball. So as you're coming out as a striker, you do want to keep yourself onside, but you only want to keep yourself a couple of feet onside, not 5 yards onside. So the ball gets cleared out of the box. Harry Maguire heads it back towards the box, and it is actually going towards Marshall. The reason I'm mentioning this, again, because critics might say, why isn't he challenging that player? Maguire's header is a loopy header, but it's dropping 5 yards ahead of Marshall, where there is another Everton defender. Now, Marshall can't be on that defender and making it difficult for him to head it when he's 5 yards back, and he's 5 yards back for a reason. He's hoping for the ball to come back in. He's playing centre forward. He's hoping for that ball to come back in and for him to get a chance. This is on 2 minutes 33 if you're watching it. Again, the game. So the ball gets headed clear by the man who's in front of Anthony Marshall, but he's got no chance of ever making a challenge for that header. So there's no criticism of him again there. 3 minutes and 6 seconds if you're watching again on screen. Positional sense. Keane's on the ball in the box. He wants to go to the left centre-back. This is happening time and time again in the game. I won't, little things like this, Anthony Martial's doing them all the time. I'm going to concentrate mainly on when he gets involved on the ball. So this first 5 minutes, I'm mentioning like the header, like his work rate, like his positional sense. These things are going, I should have said the challenge for the header or the lack of challenge for the header. These sort of things are going on all the time. You just need to trust me on it, or you can watch it and look for yourself. I'm not going to mention everyone. I'm just going to mention the ones when he actually does get involved in the play. But this is another similar thing. I'm talking about his work rate and his positional sense. This happens lots of times. I'm just going to mention it this once. So positional sense. Keane's on the ball in the box in like a right-sided centre-back position. He wants to pass it to his left centre-back, and Martial puts himself in position so that he can't pass it to the left centre-back. He's making him go back to the keeper, or he's going to have to clear upfield. You know, United don't mind if he clears it upfield. They fancy themselves to win the ball back if he just clears the ball upfield. So Martial's cutting off the pass to the left centre-back. It's just intelligent play. Now, he's also close enough to threaten the back pass to the keeper, and Keane knows that. And Keane looks to give to his centre-back and to his keeper. As soon as he looks towards his keeper, Martial takes a couple of strides forward. When Martial takes a couple of strides forward, Keane knows it's too risky. Martial's done his job. Keane turns away and has to play in a different direction. In one swoop, Martial has stopped the pass to the left-sided centre-back. He's also stopped him from passing it to his keeper. Now, a lot of people think Martial doesn't do his work, but Martial's work rate is not just top draw, but it's also the intelligence that he uses. This little one, this is the only one I'm going to put on that's similar to this. So if you look on Rick the Red UK on Twitter, you'll be able to see this. This will be, I'll do a thread later that will just be marked Anthony Martial against Everton away first half perhaps, and this will be clip A. So you'll see Martial cutting the pass off to the left-sided centre back. As soon as the right-sided centre back looks to the keeper, he goes towards the keeper and he can't risk that pass then. So Martial's work rate again and positional sense, very intelligent. Only 4 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock now. 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Lindelof passes to Juan Mata. Juan Mata passes to Martial. It's a sharp 5-yard pass that Mata gives to Martial. And most people would probably take a touch. It's got a bit of pace on it. It's over 5 or perhaps 7 yards from from Mata to Martial's feet. Most people would need to take a touch. Anthony Martial passes it first time, beautifully weighted, driven straight into Wan-Bissaka's feet on the touchline. Might not look a lot. People don't realise that it's not a dead easy thing to do that. A lot of players would get it wrong. A lot of players would have to take a touch first. Martial's great at knowing when to take a touch. Some of those things will come up shortly. But when something needs to go quickly, he knows it needs to go quickly because Wan-Bissaka has only got a certain amount of space on the touchline on this moment. This is only 4 minutes into the game, and it's a sharp pass by Mata to Martial, and then an excellent pass by Martial straight out to Wan-Bissaka on the touchline. It's probably 15 to 20 yard pass, sharp to his feet. I'm only 4 minutes in. He's done 2 good passes. His work rate's good. His challenge for an header might sound a little bit churlish, but if he started on 10 out of 10, in my opinion, he'd still be on 10 out of 10 at the minute. He's not done anything wrong, and he's not omitted to do something that he should have done either, which is another thing that people sometimes level at him. 5 minutes 20 seconds. He challenges aerially for the ball. It's a long ball from our keeper. It's another one of those where, I won't mention these too often again, but it's another one of those where he just knows he's got to make a challenge. He knows he can't win it. It's always the defender who's favourite, but he challenges him and the ball goes straight up in the air. And United have it, I think it's Fred challenges. We don't get it back, but we do have a chance of getting the second ball just because Martial made his challenge. That's 5 minutes 20, so we're now getting somewhere. My next thing that I'm going to mention is 11 minutes 30, so there's like a 5 or 6 minute gap there. The reason there's a 5 or 6 minute gap, if you're studying this on screen and you're a person who thinks that Anthony Martial didn't play well, or you're generally a critic of Anthony Martial, sometimes the other team get a foothold in the game. Sometimes they get hold of the ball and start passing it around well. This is Premier League football we're talking about. We're not talking about the part where it's kick and rush and people don't string more than 3 or 4 passes together. At some stage in games, in almost every Premier League game, the opposition do have times where they are in charge of the ball and where you've just got to defend and you've got to get in your team shape. So there's nothing here to mention about Anthony Martial. If you watch that 5 minute span, you will see that he's in his team shape and Everton are having to pass around him and he chases the ball from one centre back to the other, makes him play down the line, things like that. But that's all that goes on for about 6 minutes. Now, if you're a critic of him, there's nothing else he can do. There's no point saying, where's Anthony Martial? Why ain't he dribbling past people? Why ain't he having shots? Which is what I hear a lot. But there's a 5 or 6 minute period there where Everton are in charge of the ball. And you know, most United players hardly get a touch of the ball, let alone Anthony Martial getting a touch of the ball. 11 minutes 30 seconds. This is the first thing. Now with 11 and a half minutes in. He's already done a couple of good things with passes and he's worked hard, closed down passing lanes. 11 minutes 30. He loses a header from a long ball where he goes up with Holgate. Holgate out muscles him. If you want to mark him down on that, you can mark him down on that. But I wouldn't have thought it'd be enough to lose a point. But if you want to say he's on 9 out of 10 at the minute, I'll take it that he's on 9 out of 10 at the minute. But I think it's a bit harsh taking a whole point off him just for losing one header where maybe he could have done a little bit better, just maybe. 15 minutes and 15 seconds. This is where he gets a chance. Fred loops the ball back into the box. He takes it down instantly with his left foot and has a shot that goes just wide of the post. Both the commentators, Steve McManaman, the co-commentator, and the commentator say how well he does to get the ball down and that he's very unlucky. If you're a critic of him, you might say, oh, he should have scored. Maybe so. It is his weaker foot. He does take it down really well. It's a lovely first touch. He has to hit it first time. He hasn't got time in the box. You know, players are immediately trying to converge on him. I don't think he deserves marking down for it. You could argue he deserves marking back up for it because the mere fact that he did. A lot of players wouldn't have took a good first touch. A lot of players wouldn't have even got a shot at goal because they wouldn't have, the touch wouldn't have been good enough. You've got to get it down and it's got to be right under your feet so it's there and it's a hit. So he actually, although the shot's not great, it's not the worst shot in the world. It's a couple of feet wide. It's not yards wide. It's not the worst shot in the world, but he does shoot wide. And like I say, both the commentators agree with what I'm saying. He did really well to get it under and even get a shot in. So I don't think he deserves marking down for not getting that in. This is being shown in clip B, by the way. Then 21-12. He tries a pass to Shaw. This pass to Shaw, I've made a mistake there. Oops. This is clip C. He tries a pass to Shaw. This is no big deal, this, but it's just that he's involved, so I'm mentioning it. The ball comes to him on the left wing and Decore is closing him down, but Decore is close to him even as he receives the ball. Again, a critic might say, oh, Martial should have completed the pass. It's really tight. When a winger, now he's on the wing at this point, and when I say on the wing, he's right on the touchline. When a winger takes on a fullback, when they're right on the touchline, what a winger's got in his mind is he can knock that ball past his fullback and the fullback might get a foot on it, and or a touch to it. Because you're so close to the touchline, the fullback might get a touch on it, but the winger knows that it'll just bounce out for a throw-in. So it's like you've got a shot to nothing if you understand what I mean. You know, you're going to take that. Martial doesn't try and take him on, but it's a similar thing. So a winger might try and take a fullback on when he's tight to the touchline. If he just tries to just knock it past him or just nick it over his foot, the winger knows that he's got a chance of achieving what he's trying to do, but at the same time, the worst case, it's like a gamble, but it's a gamble that's heavily in your favour. The worst case scenario is probably 99% of the time that if the fullback does get a touch on the ball, it will go out for a throw-in for you. So you haven't relinquished possession. Your team's still got the ball, but you have made an attempt to get past your fullback, but you weren't really in any danger of losing the ball because you're so tight to the touchline. Now Marshall doesn't achieve. He receives it from Shaw. He tries to give it back to Shaw, but the Corey's right there. It hits the Corey. It goes out for the throw-in. So he hasn't lost possession. United have still got possession. Marshall's a clever player. He knows this. The Corey's there. He knows it's worth trying. If he was a little bit further in field, he probably wouldn't have tried that pass, Anthony Marshall, because if you're further in field, you're in danger of losing it. You're that close to this is how quick a player's mind works. You're that close to the touchline, you can try that pass quickly, but somebody there, doesn't matter, it hits him, it goes out, it's your throwing. So again, people might say, oh, he should have done better. Shouldn't have done better at all. It was a perfectly fine. It wasn't a bad decision to try that pass back to Shaw. And this is you can see this in clip C. It's a simple little thing, but if you look at clip C on Rick the Red UK on Twitter, and you'll see what I mean. Tries a pass to Shaw, but it hits to Corey. United get a throw in, no harm done. I'm one behind now. This is clip D because I made a mistake on that one. I'm having to change them. This is clip D. 22 minutes and 28 seconds. This is the first piece of play where you could say he does poorly, but he has a bit of luck. McManaman says in commentary, a poor layoff by Marshall. I think it was meant for one matter. I agree with him. I think it was meant for one matter. But sometimes you do get a little bit of luck in football. It goes straight to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So although this isn't great, I'm sure the people who have criticised Marshall haven't necessarily picked up this as a particularly bad thing. Sometimes you do get a little bit of luck when you're playing the game. There's no point criticising somebody for having a little bit of luck. So he is lucky, but he tries a layoff to matter. Over-hits it quite a bit, if I'm honest, and it does go straight to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It goes straight to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. There is half a chance that he meant it, but I don't think he did. So that's in clip D. Clip D, you'll see him try a layoff to one matter. As I said, I'll put the poor things up as well as the good things. So one of two. There's only 2 or 3 poor things, and when you get a little bit of luck, does it really matter? So there you go. That goes straight to Wan-Bissaka. 23-36. Yes, I'm not. This is 3 separate things, and it all leads to a goal. It's all involved in a goal. You can see. I haven't put a clip on of this now, but I have previously put like a 2-minute clip on of this move. Bruno's goal, the first goal, starts on 23 minutes and 26 seconds. 23 minutes and 26 seconds. Great hold-up play. There's a header forward by McTominay. Marshall shows strength, confidence, skill. Gets the ball under control with his chest in front of I think it's Holgate. As he chests it across the field slightly. He's only just inside their half. He keeps it up once and then knocks it in front of himself to find space, all the time running out towards the left touchline. When he finds a little bit of space, he hasn't got a pass on. If he had a simple pass on when he got there, he would pass it, but he's probably moved 15 or 20 yards to the inside left channel just to keep the ball rather than losing the ball. Finds a bit of space, turns back and passes to McTominay. That's 23 minutes and 26 seconds. 23 minutes and 38 seconds. So it's only a few seconds after he's first received the ball. He's given it to McTominay. I make no apology for splitting all these things up because it's three different involvements. That's why I'm splitting up, even though they're all seconds apart, really. 23 minutes and 38 seconds. He stayed in that left-hand channel. He knows there's space there. He knows he can get involved. He knows that he can affect the play. He's really good at linking play up. So he stays in the inside left channel, gets the ball back, When he gets it back, he looks forward. If he can play forward, he likes to play forward. He gives a forward ball to Rashford and runs past Rashford. On another day, Rashford might put it into his path. But Rashford passes back to centre-back, I think he does, and then the ball gets recycled, basically. But again, decent to good play by Anthony Martial. 23 minutes and 48 seconds, so only another 10 seconds later, he's in a little pocket of space just outside the penalty area. There's two players on him. The ball's played into his feet by McTominay. He takes a lovely first touch, and then his second touch is he sees, a lot of players don't see this often enough, he sees the 2 and 3 yard passes beautifully. So he takes one touch with a player on his back, there's another player approaching him from the front, so his second touch just nicks it lovely into Bruno's path, and the move continues. And then there's about another 6 or 8 passes. Martial goes into the box, there's another 6 or 8 passes, Shaw crosses, Bruno comes into the box and scores. It's a fantastic goal. There's loads of passing involved. Martial's involved in the move 3 times, and he's equally important, if not more important, than anybody in the move. People might say I'm going over the top. I promise you I'm not. He's even more important than Bruno in that move, because at the end of the day, the ball comes into the box. Somebody else, could head the ball in. It probably wouldn't happen, fair enough, but that chance would never come except for Martial getting in front of the centre-back, getting the ball on the floor, buying a little bit of time for people to get into position, turning and passing it. That's where the move starts. So all the other things that happened after that could easily happen, including the cross. That's the first and most important bit. So we can get all the way from Martial doing that to ending up with Luke Shaw putting a cross into the box. If Luke Shaw puts a cross into the box, you never know what's going to happen then. Fantastic goal by Bruno, fantastic run. I'm not taking anything away from Bruno, but I don't want stuff taken away from Anthony Martial. The importance of his play, just like Firmino for Liverpool, his play is absolutely of paramount importance. We haven't really got another player that can do the things that Anthony Martial does. Just a quick recap, because there's now 25 minutes gone as I've spoken there. That was the last thing there was 23 minutes and 48 seconds. A quick recap, there's 25 minutes gone. We're over halfway through the game, through the half, over a quarter of a way through the game. He's had good work rate, closing down passing lanes, closing down the angles for the centre backs to pass to the full backs and the other centre back. He showed great hold up play, excellent touches, 5 or 6 really good passes. Some of them look simple, but he makes them look simple. He's that good at doing it. He's had one lucky pass to Wan-Bissaka, fair enough. I'd rather he was lucky than unlucky. He's lost one header when he might have done better. Other aerial challenges have been fine. He's had three excellent involvements in a move that have led to a goal. I think overall, so far in this half, it's a bit harsh to mark him down from the original. If we do it like that, if you start with 10 out of 10, it'd be a bit harsh to mark him down. But I would suggest that over halfway through the half, he is worth at least a 9. I've marked him as an 8, don't forget, and the Evening Standard marks him as a 4. So halfway through the first half, he's a 9 for me. 28:03. Lovely play again, it says here. Mata to Martial, or just over the halfway line. Yeah, Mata tries to play a ball into Martial. I'm not sure Mata means it. I think it should go square to Martial, but it sort of goes behind the player who's trying to block Martial's path. Martial runs past him and gets onto the ball. It's just a lovely play. He makes it look so simple because he does the obvious things right. We've got so many players who don't do the obvious things and don't take the easy passes. So Martial runs onto the ball from Mata. He picks up the ball just inside Everton's half. They've got 3 defenders back, but Martial and Rashford are on the break, and 2 against 3. You always think to yourself, we've got a chance here. Martial takes one touch, another 2 or 3 strides, passes it to Rashford. Rashford's in space, coming in from the left, like an inside left channel, just outside the box. I've pointed out a couple of times already, or I may not have done it, might be to come, but Marshall knows when to take a touch. Sometimes you've got to take a touch on the ball to allow your teammate time to get into space. And when you do take that touch, it's then about knowing whether to release it instantly or whether to just hold it another second or so. So Marshall gives it to Rashford, runs through the inside left channel into the box. Rashford tries to return it to him, but over hits it. It goes straight through to Pickford, and Marshall's got no chance of getting on the end of it. He gets let down too often by his teammates when he's actually playing well himself. And people criticise him for having a bad game, and sometimes it's other players that aren't playing so well. So far in this game, he's playing superbly for me, and there's a chance that he could have had a goal-scoring chance there, but Rashford over it, the pass, he should have done better. And you'll hear on commentary, this is clip. I'm getting confused with my clips. I think we're on clip D here, but it's on there. The clips will all be in order anyway. So you will see Rashford over it a pass. And Marshall could have had a chance perhaps if Rashford would have just held it a second longer before passing it. And as I said, you'll hear the two commentators say, you know, Rashford should have done better there, really. It was a bit sloppy, I think Matt Manaman says. 33 minutes and 48 seconds. A great first touch, slips it past Holgate, who dives in, and Holgate gets booked. They struggle to contain Anthony Marshall. I think it's through frustration. You don't see the camera angle doesn't allow you to see. I think they've just been showing a repeat of a goal. Some people might not be. If you were watching the game live and even having a cup of tea, perhaps if you're just taking a sip of your tea, you might miss this. But because it just happens instantly. A repeat, whatever they're showing, like, you know, the goal or whatever it is they're showing, the camera just pans onto Anthony Marshall literally as he gets scythed down. You don't even see how he gets the ball. You don't see if he's turned. You don't see anything like that. But you see him get scythed down just as he slips the ball one side of Holgate, and Holgate gets booked. They're struggling to contain him. They are. 34 minutes and 50. I haven't put a clip of that one on, by the way. So 33 minutes and 48 seconds. If you want to bother looking at it, if you've got it recorded, you'll see him get scythed down. Holgate gets booked, and you know, it looks like it was a nice piece of play by Marshall. 34 minutes and 52 seconds. A beautiful interchange of passes with Luke Shaw to keep possession. Might not look a lot, but it's class. I've just spoken there about knowing when to hold it and how long to hold it. You know, there's 2 or 3 players around him. Shaw gives it to Marshall, tries to run on. Marshall just knows it's not on, holds it a second. Shaw checks back, and Marshall gives it to Shaw, and United keep possession. And it's a nice little bit of play. Everything he's done so far really has been pretty good. This is 34 minutes and 52 seconds. A few seconds later, 35 minutes and 2 seconds, Bruno tries a forward pass into Marshall's feet. An Everton player gets a touch on it, which makes the ball bobble. It's also slightly, when I say out of his reach, he has to really stretch for it. But a lot of players, I want you to appreciate this, especially if you're a Marshall critic. Stretching, you can see how much he's stretching to reach the ball because the Everton player's got a nick on it and it's bouncing. And a lot of players wouldn't get this ball under control. But Marshall, on the stretch with a bouncing ball, just kills it beautifully. He kills it lovely, turns back with the ball, and he sees Fred, and there's 3 Everton players converging on him. I'm going to put this clip on later, and you will see that there's 3 players on him as he releases the ball. And I mean, it's like he's in a telephone box with 3 Everton players around him, but he slips the ball to Fred. Seconds later, this is all going to be on one clip. This on here it says this is clip E, but I think I might have confused my letters up. But you'll see it easily enough anyway. But hopefully it's clip E. This is going to be 3 things on this. His interchange of passes with Luke Shaw. This is all within a few seconds. Then in controlling the pass from Bruno and giving it back to Fred. and then he moves to the edge of the box. 35 minutes and 10 seconds on the edge of the box. This is going to be on the same clip as well. He receives a pass from Fred, turns beautifully and passes to Juan Mata. It might just be inches too long for Mata. Mata just, he gets it and he actually controls it, but I think it just gets out of Mata's feet because of Marshall's pass might have been a few inches too far in front of him. When you're around the edge of the box, and he's literally on the edge of the box here, these things are difficult to pull off. They really are. They've got to be absolutely perfect. Your touch has got to be perfect. Whether Juan should have done better with his touch, whether Marshall's pass should have been 6 inches shorter, I'm not sure. But these little things around the edge of the box, you've got to try these things. You work to get into situations like this. If you want to take a mark off Marshall for this, you'll see this on the clip. I think you bang out of order if you wanted to take a mark off him. We didn't, it will go down as a pass completed. I often say myself that a completed pass can also sometimes result in your teammate losing the ball because it's not such a good pass. But around the edge of the box in tight situations like this, I think you need to try things like this. Clever little players like Mata and players like Anthony Marshall on another day might take a good shot, good touch, get a shot in. Another day somebody might jump in, you might get a foul, get a free kick, even a penalty. These little things you have to try. So that's 3 things there, all in the space of a minute, that they will all be on one clip, and I think it will be clip E. Only a minute later or so again, if that, 35 minutes, there's no clip, I'm not taking a clip of this one. 35 minutes, 47 seconds, McTominay to Marshall. Marshall takes a good touch with his back to goal, halfway inside Everton's half, or a third of the way into Everton's half. He gets fouled from behind. United get a free kick. Excellent piece of play by Anthony Marshall again. How many excellent pieces of play he's got to do to be able to get an excellent mark, I'm not sure, but I've not seen him do enough wrongs yet to be marked down much at all. 36:09. Now this is the next thing. This is a clip. This says clip F. I hope it is clip F. 36:09. Fred to Marshall. Yes, here we go. 36 minutes gone, and I've got a separate thing that I want to refer to on this. 36 minutes and 9 seconds. A ball played to Marshall on the edge of the box, and he tries to turn it first time into Bruno's path. Again, it's slightly out of Bruno's reach. Now, people might say, you're saying this to defend Marshall. I promise you I'm not. I've got my own football philosophy, and that's why it's called the Football Philosophy channel. And when you're criticising players for doing things wrong, I think you should take into account certain things. First of all, was it the correct decision? What I can't abide by is people making poor decisions on the field and then not doing it well either. This isn't this example I'm talking about, but such as when there's a simple pass onto somebody and you might try a difficult pass that doesn't come off. If that difficult pass comes off, you might just get away with it. Still doesn't make it the right decision to have tried that pass. Or you might have a simple pass on and you might take a shot on from 30 yards that goes over the bar. If you score, you certainly get away with it. If you make the keeper make a good save and you get a corner out of it, you probably get away with it. But really speaking, I prefer my players to make the right decisions. So if you make the right decision and it doesn't come off, then that's okay. You've got to make the right decision on the pitch as often as possible. If you make the right decision on the pitch as often as possible, you've got more chance of it actually working for you more often. Then the next step, having made the right decision, it's how often you're slightly unlucky, and this shows the difference between one player and another. It's okay making the right decision, but then your actual execution of it is really poor. If you make the right decision and you're missing passes by 4 and 5 yards, that's still no good. Okay, I'll give you credit for making the right decision, but you've got to get somewhere near getting it right. So I always take those are the two main criteria that I take into account when deciding if somebody's doing okay, doing well, or doing badly, or doing really well. So clip F, this is the first time Anthony Martial gives possession away in the game, and he's had the ball quite a few times, and that's difficult for a striker, by the way. It's very difficult for a striker not to give the ball away. There's always extra men around a striker. It's number 9 is the most difficult position on the field to play. So to get to the 37th minute, having not give the ball away, is quite an achievement, really. So 36 minutes and 9 seconds. Martial tries to touch a ball through to Bruno. It's a first time pass. It's a little touch just on the edge of the box. You've also got to take into account risk and reward. This was worth the risk. If Bruno is on the edge of the box, if it's right into his path, it's half a chance for him to have a dig from the edge of the box. If it's right into his path, he could take one touch and hit it. You just never know. United might get a goal out of it. So first of all, it's not the wrong decision. It was the right decision on this occasion. I don't like fancy flicks, but they're pretty close together. He can see him. It's not like he doesn't know where he is. The decision to pass to Bruno was perfectly fine. The execution. Now then, like I said, if it's shocking, I see some people try fancy flicks and it goes over the top. It goes straight through to the keeper, goes straight at the defender. This flick by Martial to Bruno misses him by about a foot. So it wasn't a bad decision to try it. It was worth it. The risk for the reward was finely balanced, but worth it. And it's just ever so slightly in front of Bruno. So he's a little bit unlucky. If he gets marked down, I think it's worth the try. This is it should be clip F, but you'll see which clip it is easily enough. But that is the first time that he's given the ball away in 37 minutes on the park. A minute later, it's going pear-shaped for him now. A minute later, he makes a run and he's caught offside. He's looking at the full-back, and he's a yard the other side of him. Sometimes you get played onside. You have got to do that better. 100%, you've got to do it better. Sometimes, what I have seen on many occasions, and I've seen commentators say this, and I think, what do you mean it's a good run? Sometimes there's a player who's on the other side of the field, a full-back or another centre-back, who's playing you on. So as you're looking across the line, you might be offside. I've seen people get played onside by somebody who they don't even know is there. This happens. It does happen. And sometimes commentators say, well, they always say it. They say, what a great run. And I scratch my head and go, well, it ain't such a great run. The player who he's looking at is actually beyond him. So, behind him, so to speak. So he's actually offside from what he can see himself. Sometimes forwards just take that gamble. And, maybe he's taken a gamble, maybe he hasn't. But on another day, there could easily be somebody else who's out of the defensive line. You could be played onside by somebody who you can't see. So a tiny little bit of defence for him. He is wrong, though. He does get caught offside. So really, that's the second thing that he's done wrong in a minute. But he's done far too many good things for him to get marked much lower than a 9 so far, I'd say. So definitely no less than an 8. Definitely not. But as I say, possibly still a 9 even. Give the ball away once and was a little bit unlucky, and has got caught offside once and lost one header. 43 minutes, 43 seconds. He challenges for the ball in the air. He gives a free kick away. Gets a boot in the head from Keane for his efforts. A lot of people talk about lack of work rate, lack of effort. He does give the free kick away. He gives the free kick away, if you look at it, because the ball comes towards Keane. It doesn't come towards Martial. The ball's coming straight to Keane for Keane to head it. Martial's a few yards away. He's going to make 4 or 5 strides up to jump towards him to make the challenge. That's why he gets fouled. So anybody who's watching this who think he doesn't try or that he's not interested or he doesn't do the dirty work, this is a great effort at making it. He doesn't deliberately foul him, but it's difficult not to foul him when you're taking a 5-stride run and jumping at him to try and challenge for the head, and it's difficult not to foul him. Like I say, he gets a boot in the head for his efforts as well, but Everton get a free kick. Definitely not worth marking down. I think for the effort he put into it, he might even deserve a point. And then 47 minutes and we're right at the end of the first half now, so we're nearly finished. 47 minutes and 34 seconds is a long ball through the inside left channel that's running towards the dead ball line. It's never going to go out of play. Holgate's always favourite. Marshall knows that he can't catch him. He knows he can't beat him to the ball. But what he also knows is that he can make it difficult for him to get out. So Marshall chases him all the way to the dead ball line, and Holgate has to kick it out for a throw in. If Marshall didn't bother chasing him, as some people might say he wouldn't bother, obviously he just turns and plays away, or he turns and gives it his keeper. But United get a throw in because Marshall harries him. Here's the worst bit of the half for him. Unluckily for Anthony Marshall, it's 48 minutes and 28 seconds, so it's over 3 minutes now into injury time. I'm being a bit facetious here, but on another day, the whistle might have gone already. But this is the worst thing he does in the whole of the half, and he hasn't done much wrong at all. There's a ball over the top of the defenders towards the inside left channel, inside the penalty area, and he tries to volley it back across the face of the goal. I always talk about decision making. Again, first things first, decision was okay. I think it was a good idea to fire it straight back across the goal, but he misjudges it and it sort of hits him and bounces away, and he has to chase back. But that's probably the worst thing that he does in the game in the first half. And we're up to 48 minutes and 28 seconds, and again I would suggest it's a little bit unlucky. Even though that's 48 minutes and 28 seconds, there's one more thing, and I've put a clip on of this one. This is clip G. This one made me laugh. I watched it about 4 times. I think some people will have spotted this watching it live and thought, what's he doing there? But here's a different take on it. I think you'll like it. I find it quite funny. In clip G, you'll see United have got a free kick. It's 49 minutes and 28 seconds. So it's nearly 50 minutes into the game, even though it's the first half. United have got free kick on the halfway line in the left back area. Bruno's on the ball and Juan Mata's talking to him. I didn't realise this watching it live, so I'll be surprised if anybody else watching it live realised what I think now. I'm pretty certain now that this is a training ground move. Since Bruno's been with us, some of the ingenuity from free kicks and corners has been brilliant. I remember a brilliant corner move at Brighton last season. Obviously, I remember the superb free kick that they worked against City. I saw them try that free kick in another game a while ago. I put it on Twitter. The one where Bruno's standing on the ball, and at a certain moment he just flicks it over the wall. Marshall spins in behind and he scored against City. They tried that very same move in another game a while back. I can't remember what game it was. And then just recently, I think it was the Leipzig game. I'm not 100% sure, but Marshall's only played in Champions League games just recently. But I think it was a Leipzig game where United have got a free kick that's more central, and Bruno just lifts it over the defence. Marshall spins in behind and he just doesn't quite reach it with his toe. So they've got quite a catalogue really of set pieces that they've worked on, and I'm sure it's got a lot to do with Bruno, but it nearly always involves Marshall as well. I'm sure Bruno and Marshall must work on all these things in training. So what happens here I've said clip G, but I might be out of sync, but it will be the last clip. So Bruno's got the ball on the floor in the left back spot near the halfway line. We've got a free kick. Juan Mata's standing with him. Bruno kicks the ball into the inside left channel, and Marshall's waiting for that correct moment. Marshall's deliberately standing more centrally. He knows where Bruno's going to kick the ball. The ball is kicked into space in the inside left channel. At the instant that Bruno kicks the ball, you'll be able to see this on the clip, Marshall spins into that left channel, gets the ball to his feet and turns back inside. If you watch it you need to watch it 2 or 3 times to see everything that's going on. When Bruno kicks the ball, Marshall sprints forward. I know a lot of people say Marshall sprint. Well, he sprints to whatever level he can sprint at. He sprints. So now he doesn't sprint forward for no reason. He knows what's going to happen. He knows what's happening. So he sprints forward. When he sprints forward, Marshall is receiving the ball and turning in field. So Marshall's concentrating on getting the ball, turning in field, holds it a second, and if you see that, it's amazing. If you see the time that Mata runs past him, but Mata runs past him behind him on this side. And it's just at the right moment, even though, so he's timed it, it's timing. You can tell when you look at what happens that Mata, in training, has run in front of Marshall. So what Marshall does, he turns in field all the time when Mata's sprinting up from the halfway line, and Marshall just pokes the ball 4 yards in front of himself and then looks. And so he hasn't looked. He realised, he thinks that Mata is going to be running past him in front of him. He's expecting Mata to be there. You can see the surprise on his face. He's like a sudden body move. And then he looks behind himself, and when Mata has run past him on his blind side rather than in front of him. It's definitely a training ground move. Little bit of a misunderstanding on the day, whether there was too many players in that area of the field, so Mata might have thought he won't play the ball, or whether there was a player running with Mata and he's trying to lose him. I'm not sure why it goes wrong, but it goes wrong, and when Mata runs on Marshall's blindside. When I watched it live, I thought, what's Marshall just kicked that ball there for? This is something that people who saw it might think, what's he done that for? He doesn't look interested. It's just a set piece that's gone wrong. One Mata ran one side of him where he normally runs in front of him, and he's laid the ball off, assuming Mata is going to be making that run. So from what I've seen of that half, as I say, there's a few clips on there. I've read out the minutes, the seconds that he did those things. So if you have got the game recorded, you can whip through it, and you don't have to watch the whole first half. You can go to each second, whether I've said 38 seconds and 38 minutes and 20 seconds, whatever I've said. You can look at each moment, and it's virtually every moment that he's involved in a game, apart from all the work rate that he does. One thing that I did forget there to mention was when he gave the ball away on. You see, people are criticising Anthony Marshall. When he gave the ball away for the first time in the 37th minute, Marcus Rashford had already given the ball away, and you can look at these quite easily, on 44 seconds, 2 minutes 57 seconds, 4 minutes 26 seconds, 21 minutes and 22 seconds, and 28 minutes and 8 seconds. So he'd given the ball away 5 times before Anthony Marshall gave the ball away once. You probably do get the ball a little bit more when you're playing on the wing. It's more difficult for a centre forward to get the ball. It's more difficult for him to get involved in the game. You do get the ball a little bit more, but at the same time, generally, you've got a little bit more time and space when you get the ball on the wing. You've not normally got as many people on your back and even midfield players coming back at you in your face. So Marcus Rashford had given the ball away 5 times before Anthony Marshall gave the ball away once. You could count it as 6. If you look at the 22 minutes and 55 seconds, this is something that, again, when you take a decision to have a shot, you better have a decent shot. This is another thing about my football philosophy. I'd say this about any player, by the way, any player. If you're going to have a shot, you better have a decent shot. On 22 minutes and 55 seconds, Marcus has a shot that doesn't go anywhere near the goal. It bounces. It doesn't even go in the 6-yard box. It bounces on the dead ball line 4 or 5 yards outside the 6-yard box. It's miles wide of the goal. In my philosophy, I would call that also giving the ball away. So I could argue that he'd given the ball away 6 times before Marshall gave the ball away once, but we'll call it 5. So that's that on the first half. Anthony Marshall, for me, I've given him 8 over the game. A lot of people saying, why have you given him 8? Like I say, the Evening Standard gave him 4. I've gone through the first half with a fine-tooth comb. He deserves a 9 on the first half, let alone an 8. How bad he's going to have to be in the second. Well, it's almost impossible for him to be so bad in the second half for his mark to come down to 4, 5 or 6, something like that. I'm not doing the second half unless lots of people ask me to. I might even put a poll on Twitter. If enough people ask me in the comments, do the second half. I'll put a poll on Twitter. If enough people want me to do it, I'll do it. But you can see it's quite a long, drawn-out process. As I said at the start, I am meticulous about this. In the future, I won't be as meticulous. When I say I won't be as meticulous, I will be as meticulous, but I won't sit here and spend, how long have we been on? An hour. I won't sit here for an hour going through all the tiny little bits. In future, I'll say to people, look, just trust me. You know, he did enough good things and he did very few bad things, or the other way around, whichever player I might be talking about. And this will always be on YouTube for people to look back on. Anthony Martial's first half away to Everton, where some people thought he didn't play well, and he was absolutely superb, as it happens. So that's the end of that. As I say, if you want me, mention it in the comments. If you want me to do the second half, I'll do the second half, as long as there's enough people asking. That's the end of the show. Football Philosophy channel. On the Football Philosophy channel, it was a player in focus. Anthony Martial, first half away to Everton in a 3-1 win. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. Tell all your friends. If you didn't, keep stum. Don't tell anyone.